Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cellular Healing TV. This is David Asarno, and as you can tell, I am not in my normal location. I happen to be, as you may not be able to tell, in sunny Palm Beach, Florida, and I will be with the illustrious Dr. Dan Pompa. Welcome, Dr. Pompa.
Hello.
And
go ahead.
I see you're in a ski vest. I'm here in Florida, and you're in a ski vest, and we're in June. So you happen to be up at Mount Hood in Oregon, from what I understand.
Yeah, Mount Hood at ski camp with my kids. So, matter of fact, the one that refused to get on, last week he was in his underwear on the show bringing me something, and this week he's in a ski outfit, but he refuses to show himself, but I'm going to show him anyway. There he goes, out the door. See him? There he goes. So, anyways, that's Simon, Dr. Pompa. But, anyways, so, no, they get us up at 5 o'clock here, and I'm like staying in the dorm with, and that's where I'm shooting from. It's all I have. I'm staying in the dorm with the kids. Imagine that. And they get us up at 5 a.m. I do everything they do, and we start off with a morning run. Then they stretch us. Then they have breakfast, and then they go ski today. I have to actually work, but tomorrow I'll be back out there. And then and people are probably like, skiing? It's June. No, Mount Hood is in fact a glacier, so they're skiing here all the time. But and then after that we do call dryland training, where we train, drying, and I'll participate in that too. So I come back from these camps in better shape. That's for sure.
Well, you think about it. There's nothing better than being away with your boys at camp. And actually, let's look at the topic for today. It's really good because skiing on a glacier, you're exposed to a lot of sun rays. Being down on the beach in Palm Beach, Florida, is you can see here. See the palm trees outside. So. Being down here in Palm Beach, Florida, you're exposed to a lot of sun. So let's talk a little bit about myths about sunscreen.
That's out my window, just a bunch of pine trees, and I wish I could show Mount Hood, but I'm not in a position to do that. But anyways, you can see.
I've been up there. I've been up to Timberline Lodge before. It's gorgeous. So let's talk about the truth about sunscreen and the myths. And vitamin D. Your vitamin D could be making you sick.
Yeah, well, it's another 180-degree lifestyle. I think we're talking about two different subjects. I want to definitely get to vitamin D, because obviously if you're talking about the sun, I think in most people's mind, then you're going to talk about vitamin D. Of course, to raise vitamin D, you need sun. But I think, again, a 180-degree thought is what you're hearing from the media. Always do the opposite, is the run from the sun. Run from the sun. Sun's bad, sun's bad. I hear it all the time. Well, I mean, if we just took it from a vitamin D standpoint, well, how can the sun be bad? We're talking about 3/4 of the population being vitamin D deficient, and, slathering sunscreen on and running from the sun is part of that deficiency. There's other things, toxins, cholesterol, lack of fat. I mean, all these things that we talked about before also play a major role in that deficiency as well. But, the fact is you need sun. You need sun for more than just vitamin D. Matter of fact, if you all go back and watch a past show, we talked about cholesterol sulfate. Cholesterol sulfate is used in so many different cellular pathways, and you need sun to actually create cholesterol sulfate, which you need for hormones, which you need to stabilize cell membrane, which you need really for detox pathways. I mean, you name it. A cholesterol sulfate deficiency, we know now, the senior scientist at MIT, Dr. Seneff, has shown in brand new papers and past papers that cholesterol sulfate deficiency is linked to major diseases, from heart disease to Parkinson's, MS, autism, and many other different conditions. So we know that this is a major problem, and yes, the sun plays a very, very important role in that. And yet we're being told to run from the sun, and I'm telling you to get in the sun. I'm not telling you to get burnt, because that's not good for anybody. But I'm telling you to get in the sun without burning, and raise your vitamin D, of course, but raise your cholesterol sulfate. And you know what, David? This is just what we know now. I promise you this, 10 years from now, we'll be talking about other benefits that we've just learned, other cellular benefits that we've just learned because of getting sunshine. You need sun.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, like, okay, before you go to the beach, kids are told to slather up all the sunscreen, put it all over them. If you get out of the pool, you put it on again, you reapply. What is this doing to people?
Well, most of the sunscreen on the market, David, actually causes cancer. That's the humorous part about it. Well, maybe it's not so funny, but I guess it's funny in the sense that it's 180 degrees opposite, right? I mean, sunscreen has so many different chemicals that, of course, when you put something on your skin, it ends up right in your bloodstream. So really, it's worse than eating it. You're better off eating sunscreen, because at least then it has a chance to be dealt with, via some detox pathways before it enters right into your blood system. Your blood, right into, basically your cells as well. So, I mean, we need to, if you're going to use sunscreen, for example, if you're going to be out all darn day in the sun, and you have, no way of sheltering yourself, I mean, sunscreen then could be a benefit to you. So, but again, then you have to look for a more natural sunscreen. On our website, we obviously sell more natural sunscreens. But again, I don't want to use those unless you're going to be out extended periods of time. And, after you get into the sun for periods of time, your skin gets darker and darker, giving you natural protection, of course. But again, if you're going to be out for an extended period of time, then there's no doubt that you want to do some type of protection. Even just putting on dark clothing, I mean, a hat is even better than wearing sunscreen. So don't use it unless you have to. But if you need it, do something natural. And David, just some really, like coconut oil. That's about a 10 or maybe an 8 in protection. It depends on the coconut oil, maybe even a 6. So it gives some protection. Shea butter, a little more. So those are two natural things that you could do that actually are healthy. And that's probably the healthiest thing you can do. And then, of course, there's if you want more block to that, you'd have to find a natural sunscreen, a more natural sunscreen.
So you were breaking up a little bit when you were talking about where they can go. Which website would they be able to go find a little bit more about natural sunscreens that give more protection than, say, a shea butter or coconut oil?
Yeah, I mean, our sunscreen, drpompa.com, you can find that. So, and then there's even a coconut oil there that's unrefined, which is going to give you more protection than the average coconut oil too. And it's the coconut oil that I use. But shea butter, gives you a little bit more protection than coconut oil too.
Okay. And is that something that they would just put on what? I've heard you talk about, hey, go out in the sun for 10 minutes, get some kind of a base before you put anything on anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you want to slowly get in the sun. I mean, even if it's for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, when you're really, pale, you have to, build up that, obviously the resistance there. But, yeah, so just a little bit at a time, and as your skin gets darker, you can stay out longer. The darker your skin, David, the more sun you need to actually make vitamin D and cholesterol sulfate. So that's why the greatest deficiencies in vitamin D and cholesterol sulfate are actually in the African American community, Latino community, etc. Why? Because their skin's darker. So the whiter you are, the less you actually need to be in the sun to stimulate those receptors. So therefore, if you're darker, stay out longer. It really makes sense. See, God knew what He was doing. If you live in a place like Africa, you're outside all the time potentially. God gave you really dark skin, so therefore you're out all the time, you're protected, and it takes more time to raise your vitamin D.
That's interesting. So let's talk a little bit about vitamin D, and how could vitamin D be making you sick?
Yeah, well, one of the things that people are doing is they're taking a lot of vitamin D because of the again, the media now is promoting the fact that vitamin D is really important. So people run out, just like fish oil, and they just start taking fish oil. They start taking vitamin D, and they put themselves out of balance when they take too much fish oil, right? And most fish oil on the market, as we've said in the past, is rancid. So again, 180 degrees opposite. fish oil becomes bad for you. Well, so does vitamin D. Vitamin D, there's something called a cross receptor, and I don't want to confuse our audience too much here, but what it means is on the cell you have these receptors. We talk about them all the time. Well, these are called cross receptors for vitamin D, meaning that they can bind also to other fat-soluble vitamins. So not just vitamin D, but they can also bind with vitamin A or vitamin K2. So if you go to most of you watching, if you went to your medical doctor, they'll tell you, oh, taking too much vitamin D, the dangers. It can cause hip fractures. It can even cause cancer. And they're always telling people the dangers of too much vitamin D. Well, it's not so simple. See, it's not the vitamin D that's the problem. It's when you're taking a lot of vitamin D, it's competing with the same receptor as vitamin K2, for example, which is fat-soluble vitamin. So now you end up with a greater vitamin K2 deficiency. Now you can't get calcium in your bone. Now you can't get calcium in your cell. It can also push out vitamin A. So when you're taking all this vitamin D, blocking the receptor, vitamin A is not getting through. Now that puts you at a predisposition for cancers, certain cancer. So we see the increase in hip fractures with taking too much vitamin D because you're creating a K2 deficiency. So you're not able to get the calcium into the bone. So you're literally creating the opposite problem than you're trying to avoid. So that's really where this research goes, that too high of vitamin D can cause those problems. It's not the vitamin D. It's the fact that it blocks vitamin A or vitamin K2. Let me turn my phone off here. Someone's bombarding me with emails, probably, or text. So David, you're creating deficiencies by taking just vitamin D. So if you take, end with this note here, if you take vitamin D, you have to take it where it has all the fat-soluble vitamins in the right ratio. So for example, the vitamin D that we sell on our website, there's a liquid version and there's a pill version. Systemic Formulas makes it. One is called DV3, D as in dog, V as in Victor 3. That's the pill version. And then they have the liquid vitamin D. Okay, and they're in that correct ratio. Almost 100% of the clients that I speak with, and I would say 50% of them are taking vitamin D. Okay, almost 100% of that 50% are taking just vitamin D without the other fat-soluble vitamins. So that's a problem.
So making sure that it's in the right ratios. Now, here's an interesting thing. Josh, right now, my son is in Iceland. He sent us a video last night when they landed. The first thing they did is went to breakfast, and they gave him a shot of fish oil. So he did a video of literally, it's a shot instead of a pill form. They're literally doing a shot of fish oil, which he said did not taste good at all. But then they gave him an orange juice chaser, and he said that made it taste even worse. And every time he burped, he's tasting the fish. So how does that compare to the pill form that most people here in this country are taking?
Well, I mean, the pill form is just encapsulated, so they're taking the liquid and putting it in a capsule. That's not a problem. Obviously, if you just take the straight liquid, you're going to get more for your money, right? I mean, you're not paying for the encapsulation, so that's one factor. However, I would argue this: what he just took and what's being sold here, he's taking something that's not rancid. Because it's fresh from the source. Here, by the time it sits in your grocery store, the shipping, the processing itself, you have a rancid oil. Fish oil is very fragile, and it's a polyunsaturated fat, just like we talk about the negatives of vegetable oil. Well, why pick on vegetable oil? It's safe in vegetables, but when you take out the oil and put it in products, it goes rancid. It's like a trans fat, drives inflammation. Well, I mean, same with fish oil. It's a polyunsaturated fat. So you take it out of the fish where it's very protected. You have to be very careful with that fat. Otherwise, you're going to make it go rancid. And again, then it becomes something good, bad. So what he ate was, protected more because it was right there at the source. But again, by the time it makes it to your cabinet, then it sits in your cabinet and on the store shelves, you're taking something that's actually bad for you. So yeah, there's a lot of 180-degree thoughts, when it comes to fish oil. No doubt about it. But back to the sunlight, David. I just just read there's a great study on stroke. So the lack of sunlight, when we're talking about people running from the sun, says strokes are caused by blood instability, clots, and hemorrhages. We know that, right? So we get that. But with it, the study showed they looked at 16,500 people approximately. They tracked the history of where they lived. They looked at the weather statistics in those places where the people live. They found that 60% increase in the risk of stroke for those in the lowest sun-exposed areas. So we know that if you live in an area that is low in sun, there's a higher risk of stroke, 60%, and heart disease. So we have to understand, I mean, we know this connection with disease. So we have actually the places with more sunlight actually have better mortality statistics. Now here's another interesting thing, skin melanoma, because isn't that the fear that most doctors say, right? You're going to get melanoma, skin cancer, that people, I think that's why they're slathering themselves with sunscreen and staying out. I would say the number one reason. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I was a kid, it was sort of like it was baby oil, coconut oil, or whatever that you put on.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, we spent all that time in the sun. Well, here's an interesting statistic, and this is fact. This is not my opinion. Skin melanoma has increased 2% a year. 2% every year since 1974. Well, let's look at that. There's a parallel graph here. So this corresponds to a 30-fold increase in the use of sunscreen. So, in other words, when we started using sunscreen, which is around that time it became popular, we've actually had a 30-fold increase in the use of sunscreen and 2% increases of cancer every year. So cancer rates have gone up proportionally the same as sunscreen use. So, I mean, go figure. That's an odd thing to think about, but it's true. So we're telling people to use more sunscreen, but cancer rates have gone up with it. It's almost like it's causing the cancer. Well, many people argue that the lack of sunlight is causing more melanoma. It's counter.
Well, it also could be the toxins that are in most of the sunscreens that people are slathering on, or now that they're spraying these things on that you're like, it's all chemical based. There's no zinc in there. There's no natural reflective products. It's purely chemical based that people are spraying on themselves.
Absolutely, David. And again, I think we're finding that out. I think it is a combination of the two. I think there is obviously a protection. There's things that are happening in the skin that are very healthy for the skin that prevent cancer. And I think we'll find out even more of those things in the last 10 years. When your skin becomes dark, that melanin that comes to the surface is a massive antioxidant, a massive protector. Without it, it puts you more at risk for cancer. But you're right. And then we start putting things that oxidize, the cells, like the chemicals that are in sunscreen right in. That is a double whammy. That's a perfect storm. I know that when you're using sunscreen, you're actually causing cancer. Look, and again, it's not just my opinion. There's studies that are showing that. So, folks, let's wake up to the fact that, again, whatever you're hearing from the media, do the opposite, and somehow you hit it right every time.
So here's the interesting thing. You talked about in the lack of sun, they have more of these health challenges. So to me, based upon what you're saying earlier, I mean, from the layperson, it sounds like a lack of cholesterol sulfate problem, which is causing it. So what is someone who lives in one of the northern areas, the very cloudy cities, what can they do to help get, the cities that have 10 days of sun a year? You hear a lot of seasonal affective disorders in a lot of these northwest or northeast towns. What do these people do to get the sun or the vitamin D, or what can they do in a healthy way?
Well, it's interesting because what do those people in those climates, they eat a lot of fish. You talked about your son, right, in Iceland? First thing they gave him was the fish oil.
Yeah, by the way, he had whale yesterday.
Yeah, okay, so guess what's in those products? Vitamin D and all the fat-soluble vitamins, all the cholesterol, all the saturated fats that you need to make cholesterol sulfate, everything that you need, and also natural vitamin D. You get it from the food. Because it is in those foods, right? God has it all figured out, David. You know, people, and guess what else is those people have lighter skin in those areas. The last thing you want to do is take someone from an equatorial type of place, whether it's Jamaica or Africa or something, and you move them into a northern climate like Norway or Iceland. Forget it. You've got a massive problems. They're going to have to eat a lot of fish, and definitely be outside when they can, because they are going to be a disaster. They're going to develop disease, no doubt about it. So,
You know, it's really interesting, and you may remember this. There's a friend of ours who came from India, and he talked about when he moved to the United States, all of a sudden he had skin problems, and obviously there's a food source issue with that. But you think about it, you have darker skin, you move to a northern climate in the United States, you're not getting the sun that you used to. I mean, there's a lot of environmental factors. There's the food factor, and then there's the environmental change factor. And you just brought up something I've never thought of before. But you're right. God's plan of our skin color, depending upon where we live, and the foods that we naturally or natively eat in those areas, it's sort of like counterbalances.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, if you're dark skinned and you move north, you better make sure you get a balanced vitamin D. You better make sure you get some, you know, eat some of those extra really quality fish that come from cold water that aren't loaded up with mercury. You know, and you can definitely get a better fish oil that's, you know, not rancid and protected with antioxidants and things. You know, so absolutely. I mean, you have to pay attention to those things for sure. Just like the really white-skinned person moves to, you know, Jamaica or Florida, right? Florida's probably a better example here in the United States. You know, that's a problem with those people, right? You know, they get skin burn, and that's not good either, right? You don't want to damage your skin that way. You know, so we all have things we have to think about when we move to different climates, for sure.
So that brings up a really good point, and I'd be sitting here thinking, okay, so I am light-skinned. By the way, I'm not. However, if I was light-skinned and I go out in the sun for 10 minutes and I turn like a lobster, what can I do? Is there products? Is there something that I could do to heal it, or what should I do?
Yeah, I mean, if you do burn yourself, but again, if you go out in the sun for 10 minutes, you become a lobster. I'd tell you to go out in the sun for 2 or 3 minutes and work your way up. But let's say that does happen. I would, in fact, use the coconut oil or the shea butter, you know, as a really good, you know, natural thing. And of course, aloe vera, you know, just even cut right from the plant. You know, those things. You know, it's funny because aren't those the things that you find where? You find them in high sun areas, right? And once again, God has provided, right? It's there. You find coconuts and shea, you know, shea nut, and you know, what was the other one? The aloe, of course, in all of those climates. You know, the answer. It's funny. The answer to the problem is oftentimes just like the fish, right? The fish. You go north and you get all these amazing fatty, good foods. The answer is in the environment. That's why, you know, where certain diseases are prevalent. Where do we find the greatest herbs for parasites? In the areas that have a higher number of parasites. Don't go to Norway and look for herbs to treat parasites. You know, go to the warmer climates. Go to you know, Jamaica and wherever, South America, you know, is probably a great example. You know, go to those climates and you'll find herbs that grow there that, you know, deal with the parasites the best. Pretty neat thought, right? You know.
Oh my God, I'm sitting here thinking, saying, you know, how we have such a culturally diverse food sources in different areas of our country alone, yet the world. And when you look at it, there was a plan there for it. It's so cool when you bring awareness to something that's like sort of hits you right in front of your face that you don't even think about.
Yeah, yeah. You know, adaptation, the human, you know, basically inborn innate intelligence is amazing, right? I mean, you know, that's why when people go to different climates, they get sick, right? I mean, when we go to Mexico, you know, we get sick if we drink the water they're drinking. Why aren't they sick? You know, see, they've adapted, right? I mean, it's, you know, the stressors, your body figures out a way and it adapts to it. That's why a lot of diseases are, in fact, cyclic. You know, things change over time. The body figures it out. Give it enough time, it'll figure it out. That's why when they were like, well, how did polio go away? Well, Was it the vaccination? Well, according to the CDC's own statistics, it was already plummeted. Matter of fact, with the vaccination, we actually had a surge in increase because of the live virus that was introduced back into the culture. But all diseases are cycle, for multiple reasons. I mean, not just the body's own ability to adapt, but the environmental changes that can occur. Obviously, things that were going on with sewage and different things in the cities. All of these plagues that have happened. There were multiple things that changed and adapt, even cleanly living. So, it's not like we use these things to scare people into taking vaccination when we're not really giving the body's innate intelligence much credit.
Sure.
And again, there's a consequence, obviously, to every time you inject something into your skin, right? I mean, you're bypassing the normal way you would take in a virus or a bacteria. Therefore, you stimulate the immune system differently. When you put something directly into your blood, or whether you breathe it or eat it, it stimulates the immune system in a whole different way, violates that innate intelligence, violates the natural way. And if you've learned anything from this show, that you can't violate what God has put in place. You can't violate these natural things that we're talking about here. When you do, there's a consequence. So when you start injecting things into your blood directly without going through these pathways, see, the things, the cells that you have, we'll just call them defense cells, right? In these areas, they are the first line of defense. They stimulate first. When those get stimulated, they stimulate something else. So when you get exposed to pathogens, bad guys, there's this normal way that the immune system goes about things. But when you inject something directly into your blood, now you violated the normal pathway. Look, immunologists, microbiologists, they know that this in itself is problematic, with vaccines and other things. They try to emulate as best they can what is natural. But the biggest problem I always say with vaccinations, David, is they stimulate the wrong immune system. They stimulate a hyperactivity, a type 2 reaction, which is very dangerous when you do it again and again and again. You're creating allergy, you're creating autoimmune, you're creating emergency, as opposed to when you get something natural. You stimulate a Th1 reaction, which is a lifetime immunity. Your body builds up things normally and naturally and gradually. So again, just 180 degrees opposite. I know what we're taught, and that's a whole other show. I don't want to go down the vaccination road, David, but put it on your little list of topics.
I actually just did when you brought it up. I was reading an article the other day in regard to that and that hyper reaction and what's happening. And yes, but it did bring up a really good question. A lot of autoimmune, and people are like, well, I'm autoimmune. I've been told I've got autoimmune challenges, and I would say that based upon what I'm hearing, in introducing some of these toxic chemicals from the sunscreen could be triggers for a lot of the autoimmune that's going on with people.
No doubt. Any chemical can introduce or trigger, different bad genes and therefore autoimmune. Remember the three-legged stool of autoimmunity, the second leg is in fact a stressor. And again, yes, these things are stressors that we're rubbing all over our skin. I mean, major stressors. And the I just met a woman this morning, David, they have a little organic coffee shop, and I asked her how she got started, why organic. I'm always looking at people's stories. She got very sick herself, right? Took her 10 years to get well. How she got well? She just took all chemicals out of, all, as best she could. She took all chemicals out of her life. Started eating organic. That's all she's, made her little organic coffee shop. Started using all natural things that she put on her body and hair and everything. And she got her life back, just really reduced the number of toxins that she was putting in her life. And she says that if she goes out to eat, she can only do it maybe once or twice a week. More than that, she starts getting symptoms again. So again, it shows you if you're eating a standard American diet, using standard American products on your skin, it is a matter of time, folks. Wake up and smell the cat food.
Wake up and smell the cat. I love it. Well, it just shows you all natural and what it can do, and I love the coffee analogy that you brought up because it talks about you want to talk about toxins and pesticides and chemicals. Where is it grown in third world countries? What do they use to keep the bugs away? They use pesticides that are banned here even, and we allow a lot of toxic pesticides here. They take it. Coffee is one of the most porous fruits out there. They roast it. You pour water through it, and guess what you get in a cup? You're drinking. You're drinking a cup of not coffee, but a cup of pesticides, and people wonder why they get stomach aches. They wonder why they get sick.
Well, listen, here I am away, I always say I eat the way I eat no matter where I go. I'm in a place, I haven't been here, and I saw it. I knew that I'd find organic coffee here somewhere, and I found it. I always do. Always do. I find healthy food. I drove 35 minutes down the road yesterday and found a little health food store, and I bought my coconut oil. I bought little things. I can eat healthy anywhere. You just have to see, it's a value to me, David. So I seek it out. When I talk to clients, well, I don't know what to do. It's like, no, because you're not looking. You have to look harder. It's such a great value to me that I sniff it out. I find it. I make my environment safe. I had them rewash the sheets here in just hot water because they smelled like fabric softener. That's a massive chemical. The average fabric softener that people use, it contains on average 6 neurotoxins. I'm not sleeping in that and breathing that all night. Are you kidding me? How about Tide and all these conventional things? You're breathing that from your clothes and your sheets all night, all day. You're being exposed to neurotoxins. I mean, do you think about that stuff? I do, because you know what? I was chemically sensitive once, and I knew that when I got that stuff out of my life, my life started getting better. But guess what? You may not notice it right now, all those listening out there. But let me tell you something. That stuff is affecting your health, and it is filling up your bucket. And one day that bucket's going to spill over, and that's when the symptoms start. And typically, most people, that's when the medications start. And then they go down the medication route for a while. It does. It works, David. They can relieve symptoms for a while. And then all of a sudden, that's not working. Then it's the next medication. Then it's chronic disease. And then I get a phone call. How did I get here? They think it's this one thing. I'm like, oh, no. You got here. That's right. It took you 30 years to get here. Now look what we have to do. That's why I have to interview clients before I take them on, because, if someone who thinks that they're going to get better like that after 30, 40 years of exposures to chemicals and, all these things we're talking about, forget it.
Yeah, that's one of the big challenges people don't realize, and it's no matter what. They don't look at the cause and how long it took them to get to where they are, but they expect to be, because we live in a pill society, people expect that they're going to get themselves better, many people anyway, just overnight. They don't realize they have to make the habit changes, the lifestyle changes. It's the commitment and the value that they place on their health, and being willing and committed to, what? If some people say, well, it's hard for me to do it. Yes, but how much do you value your health? How committed are you to making the changes? And almost saying, well, if you don't make the changes, what's your life going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Or the grandkids' soccer games you get to miss because you're not feeling well. So how much value to place on the things that you don't even know yet? And making that commitment to being able to live in health no matter where you are, because you're right, you can find a way to eat the right way even when you're on vacation.
Absolutely. David, I wish that everybody would just say, okay, I'm just going to do the right things because I know one day I'll get sick. It doesn't work that way. People have to, unfortunately, wait till they get sick before they make changes. People think that they're going to get away with it. They're not. Nobody gets away with it. There's too many toxins today. Genetically, you may be more blessed than others. Your bucket may be bigger. But eventually, even your big bucket is going to overflow, and then you're going to be battling a degenerative disease. Look, it took our parents in their 60s before they started developing degenerative disease. David, it's happening today in our kids. We're seeing teenagers today. I promise you this. I'm here with all these teenagers. And look, I'll still outrun them. I'll still outlast them, and I see them with health problems. I can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their symptoms. I'm healthier than them, really at 50, halfway through my life, God willing, then they are beginning their life. Where are they going to be, David, when they hit 30? Where are they going to be? That's the thing. This is the epidemic, man. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning. This is why we're doing this show. Where are these people going to be when they hit 30 years old? And man, if that doesn't inspire you, what does?
I mean, isn't there a movie out there, Fat, Sick, and something else? But it's because of that. Most of the kids are eating they're eating the fast foods. They're going to McDonald's, and places like that. And in my opinion, not necessarily the healthiest choice. And it's sort of, you talk about that when Josh used to go to wrestling training, and they do their they do their workouts and their sprints, and I would go, and I remember the coach yelling at these kids, "You're letting this 40-something-year-old guy beat you?" And it's sort of funny because the food that you put in makes a big determination of your health. It's everything.
The generation shift. I live in a unique place in the world, Park City, Utah. The adults move there, because they love the lifestyle, and they eat a certain way, most of them, and they're focused on health. In Park City, Utah, 90% of the children or put it this way, how do I want to say this? The parents are more fit than the kids. Meaning 90% of the kids there are more overweight than their parents. Isn't that opposite? Well, that's happening all over the country now, but at Park City, we see that more. We see fit parents and fat kids. Come on, sit outside of one of the schools and just sit there, and you'll see all these really fit parents, and then you see these chubby kids coming out. Because the chubby kids, they're more toxic. They're eating more toxic food, and their whole life has been toxic. The adults have shifted over into a more healthy lifestyle, and the kids, unfortunately, are eating school meals and really haven't made that shift like the parents. So we're seeing fat kids and fit parents. It's an odd thing to see, actually.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up. It's so true. I hear, even my kids are saying how fit their mom is, how fit Jen is, and she's the best shape of everyone. And it's because it's a value, it's a commitment. And it's happening more and more to people who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are deciding to take their life, take control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, another great book, David, Fat Kids and Fit Parents. But anyways, it's the answer.
No.
Yeah. I just thought of another thought. It was actually something you had said earlier that sprung the thought, and maybe we should end on this. But when we talk about moving into different areas, how important, something that we're not doing lately, when you move into a new area and you're eating local vegetables and local produce and local things, you're picking up the local bacteria from that area, right? Well, today, let's see, what are we doing? We don't eat local, so we're not getting exposed to the things and the bacteria and the microbiome in that area, which is a problem. Okay, we're getting vegetables shipped that have been sprayed with glyphosate, which kills all the good stuff and enzymes and all the microorganisms that we need, and then we're eating those things. And we're living in an environment that we're really not at one with. We're living in an environment that we're not at one with the bacteria and the viruses. Oh, and then what we do is try to run from them. So now we're using antibacterial hand creams and doing all these things to run from the bacteria, and we're not getting the good stuff in our food. What if we did like the people in, say Mexico or something? We're eating the bacteria, and now we become more resistant, more protected. We're at one with our environment. An argument to eat local, David. An argument to not wash your fruits and vegetables. Eat some dirt. It's good for you. You're going to get some microorganisms that you need.
As long as it's organic and it's sourced locally.
That's right. Otherwise, you better wash the heck out of them, and you're still getting exposed because the darn chemicals are absorbed into the plants. But you should still wash them. But yeah, of course, if you're eating organic out of your own garden, man, it's like rinse them off lightly with some water, but get that dirt in you. Don't take it all away. Eat those microorganisms. You need them. And don't wash them with chlorinated water either, because that kills too many of them too. So just we need these organisms. We need to be one with our environments. That's why people got on the thing of eat local honey. Well, that's fine, but what about local everything? We want to be in one with our environment. So when I moved to a new environment, it was really important, that I started getting exposed to the dirts and, in the outside environment and all the things around there, and my body adapted. But, I felt it. I felt my body adapting the first year when I moved to Utah versus Pennsylvania. Why? Because it's a different microorganism that live in dry climates than humid climates. So you have to make that shift. You have to live in one with that environment. So just kind of the theme that turned out for the show, but it's a pretty neat thought, I think.
Eat local, source local, go
Plant,
organic.
yeah, eat all organic. Play in the dirt and get sun. So
Play in the dirt, have fun, go get some sun, and I like that. Fit parents, fat kids, or something like that. Good book.
yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Pompa, for being here and sharing with everyone today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Next week, same time, same channel, we'll have another episode of Cellular Healing TV. Until then, create an awesome weekend and next week. Thank you, Dr. Pompa.
You're welcome. See you then.